Well, folks, greetings from Olympia, Washington. This is your state representative, Cary-Condotta, with another update. I thought we should get you up to speed because there's a lot of strange rumors going around about what's really going on in Olympia, and I want to get it clear for you what's going on in Olympia. There is one basic group of legislators that is kind of holding this whole process up because they decided they needed more revenue when we have one of the greatest increases in revenue we've ever seen in this body. We're at over $3.3 billion in additional revenue from the last budget. That allows us to raise the budget by about 12%, which is what the original Senate budget that was introduced did. Since then, the Senate's moved even further. They've added back a lot of things that were not in the original budget. They've actually made 2 or 3 offers forward. The House only made 1 counteroffer, and it didn't even get exec out of session. They couldn't come up with the votes again. And that's really the tale of this entire session. Is the House wishes to add revenue or add a tax package, but will not take the votes. They will not put it off the floor. Folks, if you can't vote that out, if you don't have the integrity to do that, you can't put it on the table and negotiate. That's all there is to it. It's just as simple. That hasn't changed in 100 years. And yet they want to circumvent that process. Now, if you're so confident that the people of Washington want additional taxes and think that we've got to go beyond this $3.3 billion, well, then vote it out. But of course they won't do that because they know that could be very costly in the next election, because you folks know better. You know the situation we're in. The economy is having some sort of rebound, particularly in the western Washington area, and the numbers are very good. This budget's approaching $38 billion. Just 12 years ago it was $23 billion, and 10 years before that it was $16 billion. We have had a huge expansion in government. Now we've had some population increase, we've had some inflation, but nothing that would equal those numbers. So we're really in good shape at $38 billion. And by the way, that budget funds raises for state employees, raises for state patrol, raises for teachers, an incredible amount of money into education. Matter of fact, the same amount of money going to K through 12 education as the House budget, which had $1.5 billion extra dollars in revenue. So we've funded all those things, we've covered all the bases. And yet there's folks here that just philosophically feel there has to be a tax increase, particularly a capital gains tax increase, which you know as well as I do, can start at the top, but will eventually work its way down until every small business and every person in the state of Washington basically pays it. That's the way it always works. No tax ever goes the other way. It always goes forward. So I believe we'll get out of here without that tax package, but I don't know when. I don't know how long these guys are willing to hold. It's like a poker game. You got to know when to hold and when to fold them. If you can't vote that bill off the floor, you better fold your cards and go home. And we would have been gone 60 days ago if that was the case. So, not trying to be partisan, not trying to say anything that isn't the facts. Right now we got one group of legislators evidently doesn't want to go home. I do, and we're going to stay here until we get it done. We'll keep you in touch. See you next time around, and hopefully it won't be too many more times. This is Cary-Condotta from the 12th District.